Cześć pokutu tak is Takrenko. Jak Oscar.
I love you.
Well, it's the comparison we've all been waiting for. The Medicom Mafex versus the Marvel Legends Mark 85 Iron Man. Now, just like with the Captain America comparison I did a little while ago, these are obviously not equivalent. I think the more equivalent comparison is the SH Figuarts release of, or one of the SH Figuarts releases of this Iron Man versus the Mafex. But I skipped all of those, and I think probably a lot of you did as well. They were hard to come by, and they sold out really quick, and there were a ton of them, and I don't think any one of them really nailed it. Whereas both of these releases in front of me have a lot going for them. Good mix of accessories, and I think they're pretty good for what they are. That said, one of them is a Marvel Legends, one of them is a Mafex. So bear that in mind in the comparison. This is really more for people who have the Marvel Legends and are thinking of upgrading, or those who are just interested in seeing them side by side. So first and foremost is paint and sculpt. I just recently reviewed the Mafex Iron Man, and it's a thing of beauty. Look at the gloss, look at the tones. They did goof up the left leg on mine. It's not as gold as the other one, but still, amazing job here. With any Iron Man, you do want them to nail the red, and I think we have it here with the Mafex. Looking at the Marvel Legends, it's not terrible. I don't like the colors as much. The gold is a lot duller and darker. That might be down to this technically being a final battle Iron Man, so maybe he's supposed to be a little scuffed up and stuff like that. The red is just the color of the plastic it was molded in, so we don't get the shiny, kind of slightly glittery, glossy look. But it is plastic, so it's got a bit of a shine to it. Yeah, the gold is looking a lot darker, but I think the sculpt is on point. I mean, all the details are there that you'd want. It's not all filled in with paint necessarily, but I think it's an admirable sculpt. We do see all of the pins in the joints with the Marvel Legends. This is something they've remedied since then. Marvel Legends figures typically don't have these pins anymore, but this one sure does. Overall serviceable, and definitely not a bad job. I will say this is different than earlier releases of the Mark 85. I think the very first one we got had a much lighter gold, and I do prefer the paint on that from what I've seen. One of the bigger differences is with the eyes and arc reactors. This just has a kind of light blue plastic, and they're recessed in there, whereas this is very surface level, and they've painted it with a blue and then a much lighter blue in there. And it looks kind of glowy. Honestly, it looks more glowy than this, but it does look a little cheap as well. We've also got some bottom of the feet details on the Mafex, which are missing from the Marvel Legends. We'll take a broad look at the accessories before we dive in closer. With the Marvel Legends, you get the blade piece here, the shield, 2 effects parts, 3 heads, and 3 interchangeable sets of hands. It's actually pretty similar to what we get with the Mafex, just less. Less hands, same amount of heads. The shield and the blade are there. You don't have the lightning refocuser or the little crab hands. Let's take a look at the interchangeable heads now. Here we have the Robert Downey Jr. likeness, and I don't think the Marvel Legends is too bad. Under this bright light and zoomed in, maybe not as good in person, but the likeness is there. On the hair, we actually have more detail on the Marvel Legends. They've done a paint wash there to get some of the details, and the Mafex is just a flat, dark brown. I would give it overall to the Mafex, but really not a bad showing from Marvel Legends, and I'm glad we did get this unmasked head. It's probably the best Robert Downey Jr. likeness in Marvel Legends of all time. For the third and final head, we have different approaches from Medicom and Hasbro. With the Marvel Legends, we get a battle damage head that would be good with the snap finger, and with the Mafex, we get the faceplate up look that we only see very briefly in the film. Honestly, I think I prefer the Legends. I would have rather had a battle damage head on the Mafex instead of this one here. So I guess point to Hasbro for this one. We do know we're getting one of these with the battle damage Mark 85 Mafex that they just showed earlier this week. Still, I'd have liked to have had it over this. I don't hate this, but I think I prefer this look. We'll take a side-by-side look at some of the accessories now. Here we have the shield with the Mafex and the Marvel Legends version. Look at that. We have the full body shield as we see in the movie. And with the Legends, this piddly little thing, it's a darker blue. My goodness. These also attach differently to the figure. This one ports directly into the wrist peg, and this one just kind of snaps onto the wrist, making this one more movie accurate, because that's how he holds it. He kind of holds it like you would a coffee mug, whereas this goes onto the side of his wrist. This can make for cool posing, having the smaller shield that's almost like an actual battle shield. This one's more movie accurate, though. Let's see those blades. Here we have the Mafex. Look at the paint detail. Beautiful stuff. And the Marvel Legends. Again, the darker blue we saw with the shield. And no paint detail. And this thing bends. Once it's in its hands, these kind of go together. It's a little rubbery and bendy. Like, I can do this without worrying it'll break. This is more rigid. You can bend it kind of, but this is a lot more pliable. Again, I'm glad we got this with the Legends. It's cool. It doesn't have the detail that the Mafex does. Let's take a look at the gauntlet hands. Both of these come with a snapping nano gauntlet hand. Obviously the Mafex here and the Marvel Legends. Yeah, paint detail on the stones for both of these. We have a bit more of a vibrant look with the Mafex. The Legends has some detail. I mean, the stones are painted. We have a bit of grey on the knuckles. But most of it's the flat red that the plastic is cast in. We also have blue blast detail on this one. This one, not so much. Both look good. And, again, cool that we got this with the Legends. The Mafex also comes with a nano gauntlet that is not snapping, just there. Again, cool inclusion. Let's look at the blast effects. Two different approaches here, but pretty similar outcomes. We have the blue from Marvel Legends, and this one from Mafex, and we do have the smaller one here that goes into the hand. The cool thing about the Marvel Legends one, it goes into the hand and the bottom of the foot. This will fit in both. You can also remove this part and just have this little dude. But you only get 2 of these. Mafex gives you 4 total, 2 of each kind. Moving on, this is an important one, articulation. Let's take a look at the Mafex first. Head moves up this much. Very good for flight poses. Down about that much. We've got 2 joints at play, a ball peg here and in the head as well. The flappy shoulder I was talking about in the review for this one, but also a pretty decent butterfly joint in there that gives you a good range of motion. Bicep swivel. Double elbow. We have the Mafex joint that gives you a really good range on the wrist, and you can move that around and have the wrist facing different ways. Torso, forward about that much, not great. Back a fair bit there. Really, oh Jesus. Really good side-to-side motion. His legs do shimmy up and down and give you some more motion. They go out that much, not a whole lot. Forward about that much, again, not great. Not very far back. Double knee. Not a ton of swivel on the old foot. It goes back a fair bit and forward. We do have a toe joint, but I really cannot get these things to move. They can go down, but not up. Pretty good overall. It could be better on this guy. Looking at the Legends, we get this amount of upwards head movement. Not great. Down a decent amount. Really good side to side, and that's due to the dumbbell joint in there. The shoulders you'll see are solid, and I think I prefer the look of these, honestly. Take you up about that much. I think that's more than the Mafex. Obviously, full rotation there. Swivel on the bicep. Double jointed elbow. Hinge and swivel on the wrist. The torso will take you that far back. That far forward. Tiny bit side to side. Legs go out that much. This far forward. Not very far back. In fact, not back at all. Double jointed knee. An excellent range. That is an unfettered ankle. Can go back a pretty decent bit. And forward too. And now for the almighty height comparison. By my calculation, the Mafex comes out about 6.3 inches tall, whereas the Marvel Legends comes out about 6.4 inches. The Legends just feels bigger, though. The head's bigger, the muscularity is more pronounced, he's wider, the shoulders are broader. So it depends, I guess, how you want your Iron Man to look. I prefer the slimmer look of the Mafex myself. If you want a bulky Iron Man who feels like he's wearing a big suit, the Legends is good for that, and a pretty good height between the two, I'd say. So there you have it, the Marvel Legends Mark 85 Iron Man with the Medicom Mafex Mark 85. I didn't see any direct comparisons between the two. When I was looking around, I saw some that was all three, I mean these two and the fig arts. I thought I'd do a little video with just these guys. This Legends Iron Man was definitely a lot easier to find, and you could probably still get him on Amazon for a pretty good price, and you get a Thanos with it. That's why I got it. I really got him as a bench warmer for the Mafex, because I knew it was going to be delayed for like a year. I think this is closer than the two Captain Americas I compared. This is a really good Iron Man, the Legends. Do you need to upgrade to the Mafex? I wouldn't say so. If it's a luxury you're able to afford, go for it. I absolutely love the Mafex, but I think if you have the Legends, you have a really good, solid endgame Iron Man. I don't think there's any need to upgrade from this one. I think for the price difference, Hasbro's done great. They offered a lot of the same stuff you get with the Mafex long before this even came out. To have two different heads, the snapping hand, some weapons, the shield, I think that's really good value, and it gives you a lot of options for displaying this guy. So I really do like this Legends, and this was my shelf Iron Man until I got the Mafex. Let me know what you think. Do you have the Legends? Do you have the fig arts? Did you upgrade to the Mafex or get the Mafex to see if you prefer it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.